Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is James and you're watching Wonderful World. And with me today is Pumpkin, who is my 2.5-year-old male amelanistic corn snake. And today's video is all about taming and socializing baby snakes. But the reason I'm starting off this video with Pumpkin is because I want you to see how tame and socialized this snake is. And I really wanted to point out that when Pumpkin was a little baby, he was definitely not like that. When Pumpkin was a baby, he was scared and he would do anything to get away from me. He would sometimes nip at me. He would thrash around when I tried to pick him up and hold him. And over time, he just got used to being handled, and I worked with him, and he went from being scared more to tolerating me. And then eventually, as he grew into an adult and started becoming more confident, he is just totally docile and friendly and enjoys being handled. He loves the time he gets out of his enclosure. And he and I have just developed such a good relationship of trust. So Rex, who is my California king snake, is still very small and still kind of a baby, but he is definitely growing quite a bit and soon would be what you would consider a juvenile snake. And baby and juvenile snakes can be shy and skittish. They're small and they're vulnerable to predators, and they know that, so it just makes sense that they would be more timid. And it can take a number of years for them to become adults. And as they do, they gain a lot more confidence and will become much less shy and scared. That is, if you socialize them and get them used to being handled. And the best way to tame and socialize a snake is to just hold it. Take it out of the enclosure and let it explore your hands and arms. And when you do this consistently, your snake gets used to being held. It gets used to being touched. It learns what you smell like, and it learns that you're not a threat to it. Rex here is about 8 months old. He was 8 weeks old when I got him. And while he was a younger baby, I tried to keep his handling down to a minimum and keep him as stress-free as possible. But now that he's getting a little older, it really is time to work a little bit more on getting him socialized. One reason I've decided it's time to start handling Rex more, and why I say he's moving into a more juvenile stage of his life, is because I see him now coming out of hiding more often and moving around and exploring his enclosure more. And I can see that he's starting to gain a little bit more confidence. He also goes after his food with more confidence. Rex has come a long way, but he still is a little bit skittish when I first go to pick him up. He definitely squirms around and sometimes musks on me. When they're at this stage, it can be a little bit stressful handling them because they are so small and fragile. You don't want them to get away from you, but you have to hold on to them very lightly and gently at the same time. But once he's in my hands and he realizes I'm not a threat, he calms down completely. Up until now, I've kept Rex's handling sessions to only a few minutes at a time, but I'm now trying to increase that amount of time and get him more and more used to it. You don't want to hold on tight to them, Don't restrict their movement. Just be slow and gentle and let them move where they want while still keeping control over them. And while I'm holding him, I try to take the opportunity to touch so he gets used to how that feels. And I'll stroke his body. And as he gets more used to that, I try to touch under his chin and his head. And some snakes won't like being touched around their heads. They call that being head shy. Pumpkin, my corn snake who you saw earlier, is very head shy. He does not like being touched near his head. But whenever I can, I try to teach them not to be head shy. If you're just starting with a new snake, keep the handling to just a short amount of time, maybe 5 minutes. Then as days pass and your snake starts getting used to being handled, you can gradually increase the amount of time you handle it. When they're very young, like Rex here, I try to work with them at least every other day, if not every day, except for a day or two after they've eaten. When they've grown into adults and they're very used to being handled, I can do that less often. I sometimes don't handle an adult snake more than once a week or so. If he does get agitated for any reason, I try to wait until he calms down before putting him back in his enclosure when he is calm and happy, so he associates the handling as a positive experience. And so far, what I've found is that compared to a corn snake, king snakes move a bit slower and calmer when you're handling them. They still move and behave like a colubrid snake, but slower than a corn snake, and definitely not hyper and spastic like a garter snake. This whole process might seem a little intimidating if you're new to keeping a snake, and you may feel a little afraid if your snake responds to you in a scared or defensive way, but really you just have to get over that fear. Your snake is getting to know you and you're getting to know your snake. So some of the work you do to socialize your snake in the beginning might also be training yourself to become more confident and getting used to handling your snake. So if you are new to keeping a snake and you have a baby or juvenile snake that is squirmy and might seem like it's never going to get tame, don't worry, it just takes time. It's something that definitely doesn't happen overnight, and you have to work with them consistently. But if you do that, by the time they are adults, it's just amazing the kind of bond and relationship that you can develop with them. So I think Rex has had enough for now, and I'm going to put him back into his enclosure. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you found it helpful. If you did, then please consider liking and subscribing. And until the next video, I look forward to seeing you again soon.